This is Murder in the Morning with Tony Bruschi and Stacey Cole.
Richard Allen's fight is not over. He's the man that has been convicted of the Delphi murders. His legal team has now officially filed an appeal, arguing that the trial was riddled with errors and crucial evidence was unfairly kept from the jury. Evidence that they say could have changed everything. And there's a lot of it if you're just joining the party. The very sad, dark party that is this story. Allen was convicted of the February 13th, 2017 murders of Abby Williams and Libby German and sentenced in December to 130 years in prison, the maximum allowed under Indiana law. The only problem is there's just no evidence pointing to it being him. But his attorneys, Jennifer Auger and Andrew Baldwin, claim that the trial was plagued with legal missteps, as it was. Just over a month ago, they filed a motion to correct errors, and now they're escalating the fight to the appellate court. One of the biggest points of contention, the exclusion of third-party evidence. The defense wanted the jury to consider alternative suspects, but Judge Fran Gull, in her infinite wisdom, ruled that there was no direct connection between those individuals and the crime. Okay, let's review for a moment here. We'll pause, and there's more to this, and we are going to watch the new Bridge Guy video that is out. We're going to break it down as well. That's coming up. There's no direct connection between these individuals? You mean like the direct connection where the girls were on Ron Logan's property, dead?
Right.
You mean the direct connection between Keegan Kline communicating with one of the girls, talking about meeting up the very day they died? That no connection to? And he's a child predator? That's not a connection.
No.
Just those two. Just those two. I mean, there's a lot more, but just those two. Fran, come on.
Help us out here.
Fran, my dear.
Work with us.
Tell me how those are not direct connections, because they are. I don't know how you can't twist those things around as not being direct connections to this case. And then you have the Rishi Davis letters. And conveniently, the one about Keegan Kline, oh, they lost that. It's just,
I hate when that happens.
Because, it's 1982 right now, and we put everything in large legal file boxes and have pieces of paper, and things are flying everywhere, and sometimes you can't find them, and sometimes... No, we're not. It's 2025, and everything, if you're responsible, should be digitally there, so you can easily find it should you need it. Like, when the defense says, we need this part of discovery that you seem to have but have not given to us. Not just, oops. The letter allegedly talks about Keegan's words, talking about being involved in this crime, allegedly. Things that could kind of exonerate Richard Allen. He also talks, but why do that? And even if it goes nowhere, the defense of Richard Allen needs to see that. That's how our court system works here in the United States. Fran, I don't know if you're aware of that. I would think you are, but Fran, what's your reasoning on any of this stuff? Because I know you just hide behind the robe and the gavel, and then you go back and make your decisions and rulings quietly and without hearings. You got a pattern of doing that. I guess just why? That's all. Why? Let's hear your reasons. Because without knowing your reasons, you look really, really suspicious. It looks really, really bad. You may not care because, there's not a lot of accountability for judges. I get that. And that's probably what you're sitting there saying right now. Yeah, good luck. Well, yeah, we won't let it drop. The jury wanted to convict someone, Auger told WRTV's Kaitlyn Kendall. They feel that that's their job, and with no one else to point the finger to, I believe that had our third-party evidence come out, this would have ended differently. And then there's the Bridge video. Remember, we only saw, what was like 6 seconds, 4 seconds,
Yeah.
something like that originally. The whole video has now been released, and we are about to take a look at it and listen to it. If you're listening on the podcast platform, we're going to play it for you. We're going to crank the volume up. Listen carefully. You might even hear things better because you're not seeing the visuals. Obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, you will hear it. If you want to watch the full thing, go to our YouTube channel, Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi, and watch it. And while I'm at this little spiel, press subscribe if you're on YouTube right now, or if you're listening on podcast platforms, so you don't miss our coverage on this case, because it is far from done. The Bridge Guy video, the full footage from Libby German's phone, has now been released to the public, showing that more happened in this situation. And you may be surprised by who wants to go down the hill first. You may be surprised by the demeanor of the girls. You may be surprised by the demeanor of the evil bridge guy. It sounds like we're talking about trolls here. I mean, I can only imagine, the people conjure up these things, this evil guy on the bridge.
Right.
I'm going to ask this question right now before we watch the extended clip. Why do we think the bridge guy even had anything to do with this? Just because he's the last person that was filmed on the girl's phone before they died? On a bright, sunny day in the middle of the afternoon, on an early spring day when people are getting excited because it's one of those days where, it's finally warm out. Let's go enjoy nature. The sun is shining. So there's going to be a lot of people on this very popular trail in Delphi, Indiana. And people like to go out to the bridge. It's kind of a point of attraction out there. So being two kids on the bridge that day, I don't know what your odds are, but I would just kind of guess that there's not a lot of moments that you're going to get out there on that bridge and not have other people on that bridge. And because they were killed shortly thereafter, we somehow automatically assume that the guy in the video is the guy.
It's true. Sounds like we're making a bit of an assumption.
What points to it? Nothing. There is nothing that points to that being the killer. Unless you compare his body figure to Ron Logan. And then you kind of go, there's a little more connections here. Because it certainly does not look like Rick Allen. If you do a side-by-side of Ron Logan and Bridge Guy, you can't definitively do it because it's such far in the background that you can't get a great shot, even though this is shot in HD and it's a lot clearer than I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm. It is very clear.
You go so far back, you can only see so much. But we're going to take a look at all that. But and I've said this honestly from the beginning. Okay, you got a guy on video. He's not doing anything to the girls. You only release 6 seconds of this thing where we quickly see the guy and then you hear the words, down the bridge. And conveniently, they also edited out the things the girls said right before that, which you're about to hear as well. This Bridge Guy video seems like they were desperate to put something out into the public ether of, we got something, we're doing our job, something's here. This Bridge Guy video, who is this guy? The only reason we're focusing on Bridge Guy to this day is because no one has ever raised their hand and said they were Bridge Guy. Probably rightfully so, considering how things go in Delphi.
Right.
If you're there and you know how this department works and how things just kind of get like, well, we got to fill this hole with this or that, or we're just not going to investigate this fire where the 4 black kids died. You may not be exactly chomping at the bit to say, I'm Bridge Guy.
You may end up locked up as well.
Considering they're already immediately going and saying, we think this guy has something to do with it. Are you going to raise your hand and say you're the guy that they think has something to do with this when you didn't? No. Nope. But you know who did? Richard Allen. He didn't say he's Bridge Guy, but he raised his hand as a decent human being, a citizen, a father, a husband who has no criminal record. He raised his hand and said, yeah, guys, I was out there. What can I tell you?
He was telling the truth. He was being an honest man.
Yeah.
He didn't think he needed to hide because he probably didn't do this.
The bridge guy, again, who looks a lot like Ron Logan. Not saying it's him. We'll never know. He's dead. I mean, it's an obvious comparison too. I mean, it's shocking how much the two look alike. And the arguments are always made, we've never found anybody that looks quite like him. Oh, I don't know. The guy that the FBI was staring at and did a fucking raid on his house? That guy that looks a lot like Bridge Guy? There's nobody in this world that looks like him? Really? Really? You're now about to view the Bridge Guy video in its entirety. This is our feature presentation. Hope you have
Dim the lights, everyone.
Hope you have your popcorn ready. I'm going to go to a full screen on this. If you're watching, and again, audio-wise, just listen closely. I think we'll do this one right here. Okay. Cranking up the volume. Okay, everyone, put your cell phones away and no talking. Here we go. Oh, that's not it. It is. Sorry for the delay, everyone. Let me find it again. Bridge Guy. One moment. As we sit on this beautiful screen.
It's very pretty.
Isn't it? Here we go.
Yeah, I like it.
See, this is the path that we go down. There's no path going there, so we have to go down here. Bye.
That's it. That is the video.
Yeah.
And I'm going to play it again, and I'm going to narrate as well. So the listeners of the podcast can understand what we're actually seeing in this 48-second video. So I'm going to bring it back for our viewers on YouTube so you guys can see it again. And this time I'm going to talk about what's going on. So everybody can kind of grasp it. Here we go. So initially we're seeing some railroad ties, a shot at the ground. Camera goes up for a second, and then we see one of the girls walking down the bridge, and not quite right behind her, he's a bit of a ways back, is Bridge Guy. And nobody's like chasing anybody. It just looks like somebody is behind her walking on the bridge. It doesn't not appear to be stalking type behavior. It does not appear to be ominous type behavior. I asked Robin Dreek about this earlier as well. I said, if I just showed you this video, we knew nothing about this case, would you think there's anything strange about this? Like, no, it looks like two kids on a hike.
Yeah.
There's nothing ominous about the Bridge Guy video in its entirety. Everything that you've learned about the Bridge Guy video has been fed to you by the prosecution of Richard Allen to make this thing sound far more damning than it is, which is just insane as well. But again, because Rich Allen doesn't look like Bridge Guy. But I digress. Okay, so there she is on the bridge, and this is where camera's on its side, pans back for a quick second, and we see Bridge Guy. And this is interesting because what was released to the public is this shot, or about 6 seconds of this shot of him walking on the bridge. And what is imposed over the audio in that, or over the audio in this shot, is that down the hill and the volume cranked up. And here's the deal. He didn't say it at that point in this video.
No, he didn't.
He didn't say it when he was that far back. He didn't shout behind the girls down the hill. He did not at all. So that whole premise in itself is bullshit.
Yeah, he wasn't even interacting with them
No.
at this point in the video.
He wasn't saying a word to them. He was keeping to himself. He's not at the end of the bridge going down the hill. But so this video that's been edited is what was presented to the public. Why would you even edit this? Why not show the whole damn thing?
No, it doesn't serve your case very well now, does it?
No, it doesn't. So
It's like a guy who's out on a hike.
Yes.
And he just happened to encounter two girls, and it looked like they were trying to figure out where to go.
Yes, and let's keep playing this, because that is key to what we're talking about here. I'm going to try, Stacey, I just want to say, don't say anything right now, because I'm going to crank the volume even higher on your volume, but your volume is also where this video comes from. And I just want to try and get this as loud as I can get it, if possible. And you're going to be really loud if you say a word. So we're going to continue with the video.
See, this is the path that we go down.
Okay, so the girls have reached the end of the bridge. The camera is basically pointed down at the gravel where they're walking, and they're trying to find the path. She says, see, this is the path we should go down, because they're trying to figure out where the path goes and where the path is for where they should continue their hike at. The first people who are talking about going down the hill are the girls, not the guy. They're trying to figure out how to get down the hill. Continuing on.
There's no path going there, so we have to go down here.
There's no path going there, so we have to go down here. That's what one of the girls said. So they are on a mission to go down the hill already. Bridge guy has not said go down the hill or down the hill. He said nothing yet. They have some reason they want to go down the hill. What is that reason? We don't know. Are they planning on meeting somebody down the hill? Is there a specific place maybe someone said to them, and this is just my pure speculation, is there someone that said, hey, meet me under the bridge? I don't know, somebody like Keegan Kline, who's talking about meeting with the girls that very day, the child predator, that gets arrested later and then has some alleged confessions that conveniently get erased, that guy? I don't know. That's pure speculation on my part. But going down the hill, very much the idea of the girls. Very much not the idea of Bridge Guy. So they're standing at the end of the bridge, trying to figure out where the path goes. And then the Bridge Guy gets up to them in passing. And you're going to hear like a little, hi. Again, nothing that sounds incriminating, nothing that sounds demanding, nothing that sounds like I'm go down the hill. No. And they're standing there looking for the trail, trying to figure out where to go. And they're probably looking down there. If I'm a passing guy and there's two girls that are young trying to figure out where to go, and like there's a trail down there that I know about, I would say, yeah, it's down the hill, which is exactly what you're about to hear. Take a listen.
Hi.
There you go. And then it looks like they start kind of moving, and that's where the clip ends. Anything incriminating there, Stacey?
No. Like you said, it was about as innocent as somebody saying, hey, beautiful day out here. That's what it felt like. And they were just trying to figure out where to go. And he's walking by, and maybe he's been there before, and he goes, no, down the hill. That's where you need to go. It doesn't sound like go down the hill because I'm going to kill you.
No.
It just sounds like go that way. Take a left, take a right.
Two
Down the
confused young girls trying to figure out where their path is that they've already have said aloud, well, it ends here. I think we might have to go down there. And I'm paraphrasing, but they're the first ones to say it.
Yeah.
And then they wait a second because Bridge Guy then passes. But somehow Delphi prosecutors and investigators believe that then this guy that's randomly walking on the bridge decides to go down the hill with them, and they're saying it's Richard Allen. He goes down the hill with them, murders them with a box cutter, is going to be covered in blood and all of that. And it's like 2:00 in the afternoon on a busy, sunny day on a otherwise peaceful trail where a lot of people are going to be coming and going. Does that, manages to clean up the bodies as well, because there's tons of missing blood. And every expert that's looked at this has said the bodies were moved. They were not murdered at this site. So allegedly then goes somewhere else, kills them, cleans them and himself, brings them back to the spot, does some sort of stick thing on top of them with the sticks for a ruin or whatever, or is trying to hide it, which is, I mean, it's not, anybody wouldn't look at, nobody's going to look at this and go, oh, they really did a good job trying to hide that.
Yeah.
It's not that type of a thing. And then manages to get back to his vehicle without being seen, bloody as hell. And it's all done in 19 minutes.
Boy, that's some fast action.
That's some magic shit right there. That's like David Copperfield's Statue of Liberty disappearing shit right there.
Right?
It doesn't make any sense. Or you can go down the road of, I don't know, these professed Odinists that there's actually was video of them practicing their occult practices. And that video also happened to get erased or lost or missing. You had some very early folks that were suspect in this actually on their own Facebook pages, having a scene where it looks like two girls are dead on the ground with sticks placed on them, almost identical to how these two girls died. And that was on Facebook prior to the actual murder. And then you have these professed Odinists with these rituals, with this letter on the tree. They're all of these things lost, gone, and then Gull saying, it's nothing. So if that's too far out there for you, then you have Keegan Kline. Then you have Ron Logan, who looks like the bridge guy, and made up a fake alibi before anyone knew the girls were dead. And by the way,
that's concerning, Tony. That right there that's one of the biggest red flags to me.
And by the way, they combed this area and didn't find any bodies. And then they found some cleanup bodies shortly thereafter. So the bodies were probably not even there in the afternoon. They were somewhere else. They got cleaned up. After the searchers had passed that area, someone took them back out there. And that didn't happen in the 19-minute window.
No.
Which also doesn't add up because their 19-minute window also has a lot of issues in it in terms of a white van, when it was there, when it was not there, Richard Allen being aware that there was a white van there, and the fact that you tortured him for 14 months. He's eating his own poop and running into the wall head first. Not exactly the guy that I would think I would take a valid, excuse from or a confession from. So there's that. There's your clip. That's why we only saw 6 seconds of it. Because it debunks so much shit. It debunks the boogeyman.
Yep.
I don't know that this bridge guy had anything to do with it. I don't know that's Ron Logan either. It certainly, if you were to profile anybody that's been accused here or could have potentially been there, he'd be the one I would say looks most like him. And it's stunning how alike that this can look. Or it could just be an overweight guy with a blue jacket going for a hike who doesn't want to raise his hand to help because he's seen other people who've raised their hands to help and what happens to them.
What a mess.
The extended clip offers a clearer view, obviously, into the suspect's movements, fueling debate about whether Allen was truly the man in the video. Prosecutors have long maintained that he was. And so what if he was? Honestly, after watching the whole thing, even if it was Richard Allen, what does this video prove? Nothing. Mm-mm. Skeptics argue that the new footage raises fresh doubts. Oh, yeah. Especially regarding whether more than one person could have been involved. The defense is expected to use this video as part of their appeal, claiming that its full context was not properly presented during trial. And no, it was not. The appeal was officially filed on March 11th. Now the case moves into yet another legal battle. Will the appellate court overturn the conviction, or will Richard Allen remain behind bars for life? If there's any case where injustice is blatantly happening day by day, it is this one.
Yeah.
If you want to use your energy to get behind a case that has legitimacy to it, of a guy that's a father and a husband who has been wrongly convicted, go behind this one. Don't waste your time on Scott Peterson. I would get behind this one. Because this is such a miscarriage of justice, it is insane. And you don't know how or why. What's being protected here? Is this just ego that went out of control and nobody can admit that they are wrong for anything? And we're going to literally just omit evidence or say we lost it or we taped over it or whatever at any turn of specific pieces of evidence that can be exculpatory towards the guy we're accusing? The one thing you have is an unspent bullet on the ground after 30, 40 some officers also potentially with the same gun and bullet were trampling all over your crime scene. But it must be this guy that works at the CVS that we don't charge with anything for many years later who raised his hand and said, "Hey, I was hiking. How can I help?" That's your guy. I don't understand how McClelland sleeps at night. I don't know. That's a masterclass in narcissism right there.
Want true crime coverage all day, every day? Press subscribe now to the Hidden Killers podcast and True Crime Today and get the latest cases delivered right to your feed.